All right, everybody, we are back at it again in the longest series we've done thus far, with album reviews. But we're still going. We still got a couple more here. But today, last time we entered in the '90s with the more Norse themed tour, and now we get pretty much a complete lineup change, except for, of course, Tony Iommi, which is it's his band. Sabbath is his band. He's the only stand-still member, the only absolute member. So we get a completely new lineup here. Well, not new lineup, returning lineup rather. And it's the lineup of Dio's last album with the band, Mob Rules. So he's back on 1992's Dehumanizer, and he's back. He brought Vinny Appice along with him, and he brought freaking Geezer Butler back on bass. And man, oh man, I love that lineup. One of the best Sabbath lineups out there, that's for damn sure. So it was really cool, especially going in order. Listening to these again, it's really cool to kind of freshen it up again, getting these guys back up in here. This album right here, man, one of the coolest looking album covers, and it kind of reflects the theme that kind of goes on with this thing, the kind of technology taking over man kind of theme. There's a lot of lyrics like that. Dio was apparently really into that, He kind of talked about it on like his solo stuff, Angry Machines, and talked a little bit about it on Killing the Dragon even as far as saying at one point in like an interview that the dragon, so to speak, in that was technology and the computers. So he was really into that stuff, and he wasn't too far off, because look where we're at now in society with kind of how technology is just in everything. But yeah, this is one of the most rare albums I own on vinyl. This is an original press. I mean, I dropped like a good 200 friggin' bucks on it. Like, it's probably the album I've spent the most money on ever. But I needed it, man. I needed it. And funny story about it was my best friend from the Air Force, he was going to get me a present, kind of a surprise here, and he ordered me a copy of this. But it turned out, and he paid pretty fair amount for it, turned out to be a repress. But the repress was rare too, and it's sentimental to me, that repress. So I got it hanging on my wall here, and I'll keep it forever. So I wasn't disappointed in the slightest. But it did inspire me to say, hey, I want to go ahead and get the original. Why not? So I did that a couple months back and got this thing, and just, man, one of the most rare albums I had, like I said, and I just freaking love it. Love the cover, love the presentation here. I'm thinking back, it might be my favorite Black Sabbath album cover. It's kind of a tough call. They've had a lot of great covers, but with that being said, guys, let's hop into this thing. First off, production, absolutely killer. This was that like 3-streak, just amazing production we got going, that started with Headless Cross. Because Eternal Idol, before Headless Cross, it had decent production, but it wasn't quite to the level of the Headless Cross production, the Terror production, and this right here, man. I mean, wow. It's just something else. You got really, really big drum noise from Vinny Appice. I'll go as far to say I think this is Vinny Appice's best damn drum work he's ever done. I'm going that far, and I've heard, every Dio album he's been on, all that good stuff, but I really think he just stepped up his game. It's almost like he heard Cozy beating the drums harder than he was or something on those last couple albums, so he's like, oh yeah, here we go. And I also will go ahead and say this is, I think, Geezer Butler's best work, bass-wise. And the production on this particular, the bass is turned up. You really hear that just dark and deep classic Geezer bass tone. But anyways, we start off with Vinny Appice's just bashing the drums, bashing them cymbals, and then to just a slide on the bass and a heavy-ass riff with Computer God. Man, what an epic opener. That's Computer God's one of my favorite Black Sabbath albums of all time. I mean, this is much doomier than these past couple albums we've kind of messed with. Dio pretty much brings that wherever he goes, in some shape or another. And this one, man, I'm telling you, the lyrics are just dark. I love after like the first 2 verses, you get like you get like a little mini breakdown of where it's just drums going, and then just the solid bass line, one of my favorite bass lines of all time, because it's just so cool and just kind of out of nowhere. And then they follow it up within the next verse later on with the guitar layered on top of that. So that's such a cool little thing they did there. I love the chorus, there's another side of heaven, this way to technical paradise. I mean, that's just some cool stuff, and then the breakdown, of course, it's got this really cool bass thing going on again from Geezer into the pretty vocals of Dio, of Ronnie James Dio, which, he can just do it all. And he does it on freaking Computer God. Love, love, love that opener. Just top tier Sabbath stuff. He brought the doominess back. Not that the previous albums didn't have it, like Sabbath Stones, Headless Cross. Those songs in particular had that kind of doominess to them. But I mean, Dio, like, his voice just really, really makes that doominess and makes it just, it takes it to another level as far as that goes. Then we go to After All the Dead, and man, another really, really cool, possibly even doomier track, more sluggish and stuff to it, which Dio really, and I've reviewed and ranked all his albums on here, so if you're interested in that, you can give a look at it, but where I talk more in depth about those. But it's almost as if these guys, Sabbath, they saw Ronnie with his band Dio. Let's Lock Up the Wolves album, which is very similar sounding to this, and then they were like, okay, we would like that sound, because that there's a lot of Sabbathy moments on Lock Up the Wolves, so it's almost like they saw that and they're like, get him in, so it really does. I mean, and even the albums that Dio would release after this sound very similar to this, so just Dio's 90s run and entirely is just underrated, But After All the Dead, yeah, super cool, sluggish sounding track with a really, really cool chorus, incredible vocals from Dio. Then we get to track number 3. We're talking TV Crimes, man. That is, wow. I love this song, more of a fast-paced one to kind of get you going, and we're talking, I love the lyrics, especially like in that chorus that are kind of like classic rhymes or whatever, like Holy Father, Holy Ghost, who's the one who hates the most? Jack be nimble, Jack be slick, grab the money, get out quick. I mean, that's just so freaking cool. Really, like, takes those classic kind of rhymes and puts a dark twist on it, That's just classic, genius lyrical writing from Ronnie, Really, really cool chorus. I love that. And it's, like I said, just a fast-paced one, you got just awesome riff yet again. Tony can pretty much kill it with the doomier, sluggier stuff. And this track, among others, is proof that he can speed it up and get it going, too, and still keep that groove. Then we get possibly, another one of my favorites off here. Computer God and this one right here are up there. Letters from Earth. I mean, whew. This is probably the doomiest song on here. It's just got the nastiest riff. I mean, brutal. And, I'll go ahead and jump the gun and say this is, I can easily say this is the heaviest Black Sabbath album. Does that mean the best necessarily? I don't know. We'll wait and see about the rankings. But it is definitely the heaviest. I mean, this track, all you gotta do is show somebody Letters from Earth or even your Computer God off this side right here, and man, just the massive riff, and I think it has a lot to do with, obviously Tony has got a freaking crazy tone as it is, super heavy tone, but you get Geezer's tone back up in here, and it's just, man, add that to it, and it just bumps this thing to a whole nother level of heaviness. And Letters from the Earth, there's a cold world and I'm in the middle, caught in between. I love how that flows along in the verses. And, even like after the big chorus, there's like this like odd time signatures, a lot of really cool odd time signatures scattered throughout this album from Mr. Apiece on here. So, and that chorus and Letters from Earth, just, man, that whole damn song is just one of the best freaking Sabbath tracks of all time, in my opinion. Then we get to Master of Insanity with one of the hookiest riffs off here. The kind of, na-na-na-na-na, like just such a cool little riff there, and cool groove to it, especially in the chorus where it kind of does that same thing. And Ronnie, singing Master of Insanity kind of in the same flow of that riff. So a really, really cool song to close out side 1. I love Master of Insanity. Then we get to possibly my least favorite off here, if I had to pick one. Time Machine, which was also like a more cut down version was featured on the Wayne's World soundtrack, which is kind of wild, but and it's a cool one. It does sound more commercial. They had to make that. It was the biggest hit off here, for sure. It got some radio play, and it was on a soundtrack and stuff, and it kind of reflects that being really commercial. But it's good. It has a really cool chorus and all, but probably my least favorite off here. Then we get, oh man, Sin to the Father, which is just like, man, it's got this just brutal, like tone that almost, it sounds very reminiscent, if not the exact same, as like the first Sabbath album, the kind of tone they capture at moments in Sin to the Father. And it really reminds me of something pulled off like the first album as far as the doominess goes and the tone. And it's almost, it seems intentional. Like they're like, hey, look, let's pull out that old tone and throw it on and let Dio have a run vocally with us doing that. And it just, Sin to the Father is the product of that. And boy, oh boy, did it deliver. Oh, man. Love that song. Then we get kind of the ballad on here, Too Late. And, for a damn ballad, it's still really heavy. Like, that should tell you how heavy this thing is, It does kind of start soft and kind of mellow. But during that chorus, I mean, just kick on the distortion, right back on. And it's on, and it's kind of hard it's kind of hard to have a ballad that's not heavy, with Vinny Appice on the drums banging away like he's doing, and that's the awesome thing about this. It still kind of serves as the ballad, but it's a really cool song, and also kind of still, even though it's ballad, he's still lyrically capturing like it's too late, and I'll mention too because we're kind of talking about the theme a lot in this, like the computer stuff. It's not a concept album. It much like Tur is, where it wasn't a concept album, but it did have a lot of like the Norse mythology theme like all over it. Kind of the same thing here with like the computer stuff, which is just such a cool concept. But yeah, Too Late, great song. Then we get, man, track 4 on side 2 here, simple title, badass song with some of the most badass drumming. I mean, man, and that riff is just, such a awesome. This song really has got some offbeat stuff going on in it, which is really cool. Tony just shredding it away. And I love right before the chorus the banging on the drums from Vinny Appice. Like he really does. I'll say he does give Cozy Powell a run for his money for this album for me. I do like Cozy Powell as a drummer overall better, but man, I mean, as far as best drumming on the Sabbath album, I mean, Vinny Appice might have it over Cozy Powell. It's a tough call. But overall, I do like Cozy Powell as a drummer better. But like I said, I think this is Vinny's best performance on the drums he's ever done. And whether that, Cozy inspired him to hit him maybe a little bit harder than normal. Not that he already did hit him pretty damn hard, but who knows. But it sure does seem to me because he stepped up his game big time. And is just a really, really cool chorus. And, I just love the melody of the chorus up in there and the melody over the verses that are just, speedy yet doomy at the same time. It's one of my favorite songs off here. Then we get the closer here, which is just such an awesome closer. It's not like a closer of like, kind of like a lot of Dio albums he closes with big kind of like build up slower ones, like for example, on like Last in Line, his album Last in Line, he closes with Egypt, the chains are on, stuff like that. He's known to kind of close it, or even with a big almost ballad-esque captivating closer, kind of like Lock Up the Wolves, drawing a blank. My Eyes, that song. Yeah. But no, this one they go balls to the wall with a bang here with a really, really, you want to talk about offbeat again, I keep talking about that, but it's just true. It's all over here, man. These offbeat drum patterns from Vinny. I just can't get enough of it. And I can't get enough of the Iommi solo in here. It's tough to say, but it might be my favorite Tony Iommi solo. Comes in after that first chorus that is just an incredible vocal performance. There's almost like a softness, but not like the typical soft Ronnie vocal you get like when he's singing over a slow part, but almost like a cleanness over the heaviness that has a great contrast that kicks right back into the heaviness during that chorus when he screams "buried alive," you know. But that solo from Miami, it's just, that's the definition of why, you know, that's it's a perfect example of why, like, I like Black Sabbath solos, Tony Iommi solos. You know, just from the slide in, and then just the crazy noodling and shredding, and then you get like the super memorable kind of hook of the solo, like the na 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 na, and just kind of repeating that part. That's like the definition of a Black Sabbath solo to me, and how impactful they can be, because that solo right there just makes the whole damn song for me. And without it, it would still be a great song, but that just wraps up, the present. And it does that for the album too. It just ties the bow on the gift, that closer does. It's just fast. It's a faster paced closer that, you maybe wouldn't expect from Dio to close on a faster paced kind of note, but it really works like so damn well here. And like I said, is one of my favorite tracks off here. But with that being said, guys, 1992's Dehumanizer, kick-ass album, super underrated. You hear people talk a lot about Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules, and I freaking love those too. But, like, why don't they talk about this one? It's like, just because it was in the 90s, I guess, and I don't know, because this one is a great album too, and it's just right up there with those, for me. Like, it should be held in the same regard as them, because all three of these damn Dio Sabbath albums are just insanely great, and just masterpieces. And, like I said, this one's no different. So, if you guys out there maybe haven't heard this Dio album, because, for a long time I didn't know, it existed, pretty much. Even like after I listened to Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules a long time ago, I didn't know this thing existed. I really didn't know much past after the Mob Rules era, until, years ago when I decided to delve in and go all in on Sabbath, but yeah, just incredible album. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. We've kind of talked about it a little bit, some of the comments with some of you guys, and I want to thank you all again for doing that and talking with me in the comments. That stuff makes my day. I love doing it. Love talking about music and sharing different opinions and stuff. And just seeing kind of each other's lists and thoughts. And if we disagree, awesome. That's really interesting to talk about why we like the ones we do. And if we agree, that's really cool too, because we share the same love for it, So that's just super fun. I've been loving the ton of all these conversations we've been having with you guys down in the comments. Really appreciate it. And this will be this will be the last upload before Christmas. So Merry Christmas, everybody. I can't believe we've already made it through this channel a little over a year now. And we just have been growing and growing, and 59 subscribers, I think, is what I'm at now, which, that ain't nothing like these crazy YouTube stars, whatever. But that's cool. I love the interaction from it, and it's cool that, that many people are at least interested. So I love that. I love how much this thing's growing. Let's just keep it going. And let's keep talking about this stuff as we go in deeper and deeper. But yeah, guys, y'all have an awesome Christmas, and thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, let's talk about this thing down there in the comments. Thanks, guys.